Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Painted Springs Garage. In today's video, I want to experiment with an alternative way to inflate a tire. And I'm thinking I have a way where I could actually use the engine to make air pressure to inflate a tire. So let's give it a try. So this tire here is deflated about as far as I want to deflate it without causing damage to the sidewall. I got a little bit less than 10 psi in there compared to the back tire that has like 30 psi. So I want to get some more air in here, and I think I can use the engine to do it. All right, well, I have hooked up here what is called a compression gauge, which goes in a spark plug hole and measures essentially how much air pressure that cylinder can make. And you know what I need right now is air pressure for a tire. So what I'm going to do here to measure how much air pressure the cylinder can make is I have a wire connected to my starter, which just happens to be on top of the engine here, so that's convenient. And I'm going to jump that to the battery and let it crank over 5 or 6 times. Usually you'd hold the throttle open while you do this, but I'm limited on hands since I'm also holding a camera. So I'm just going to let it crank over 5 times or so and see how much air pressure we can make. All right, so we made right about 120 psi, which is about what I'd expect. So this cylinder just filled this tube here with about 120 psi, that's about as much pressure as most air compressors will make before they are, tuned to shut off. And this has a little check valve in it, so I can open that up and it drains the air pressure out, which also is very convenient if I want to fill a tire up. So I think what I can do here is take this gauge off the top and put a air fitting on instead, then connect a hose down to my tire. So let's give that a try. All right, so now I can take the compression gauge out of here, which is basically just an air gauge. That is in there pretty good. All right, there we go. All right, and I noticed that this is 1/8 inch pipe thread. And what I want to put on here, so this is male 1/8, and this is female 1/4, the air fitting I want to put on there. So what I did is I've got some fittings laying around, so we can use a 1/4 inch male-to-male adapter. And then I picked up a 1/8 inch male to 1/4 inch female adapter. So be able to put that in here and then put this fitting on here. And then this is going to clip back onto the hose that goes into the spark plug hole. And we can clamp an air hose onto this end to go to the tire. So I'm going to tape this all up, see all those connections, and then we'll see if this works. Well, now this is where it starts to get a little bit mad scientist-y. So we've got the compression tester adapter and the spark plug hole still. That hasn't moved. But now that is connected to our newly made air fitting, which connects to an air hose, which comes around the fender here to a tire gauge. And you can see the tire currently has not quite 10 psi, like 7 or 8 probably, connected to the tire. And I think if I open this, it's going to pressurize the air hose, so we'll lose a little bit of pressure, but I think it'll hold what's in there. Yeah. So I'm going to put a zip tie on this handle here to hold it open. And then I'm going to start the engine and let the engine run off the other 5 cylinders. So it'll not be super happy, but it'll run. And something else I did, it's a little hard to see, but back here underneath there, you can kind of see it underneath the manifold, the fuel injector. I unplugged the fuel injector. So when this engine is making air pressure, it's not going to be pumping fuel into the cylinder and into my tire. I don't want fuel in my tire, just air. So this cylinder is just making air pressure, and the rest of them will run the engine. So let's start this up, see what happens. All right, so I've opened up my garage door, so we're not filling this place with fumes. Let's see, key is on. And start the engine. There it goes. And it's actually running pretty okay on 5 cylinders here. So let's see what... we're up already about 10 psi. You can see the needle bouncing back and forth there with every pulse of the engine. Getting a little bit more stable. Now I want to get this up to about 30 psi. It's usually what I run on the street, like 28 or 30, since it's a big LT tire. Yeah, what is this? Yeah, 245, 75, 16. It's a heavy tire for this this Escape. Now we're just a little over 10. Give it a couple minutes here. I guess I can open a window while we're at it. Get some more fresh air. I'm surprised the engine's actually like running pretty smooth. I can feel it, but it's not bad. Let's turn this compressor up a little bit. How are we doing here? Well, we're up at like 12. It's a pretty big tire to fill and slow moving compressor. Let's rev the engine up for a minute. Yeah, it's slow going, but it's putting air in there. We're up at like 13 now. But yeah, you know, this is like filling a big air tank here. Probably like filling, I don't know, like a 15 or so gallon air tank. Oh yeah, we're about 15 now. So, you know, 30 would be really good. Let's let it go for a couple minutes here.
12 seconds later.
Oh, it's looking like a tire. So yeah, we're only up to about a little higher, like 17 psi. But look at that tire. Like, it looks a lot better now than it did when we started. Yeah, so not a fast process. We're definitely putting air in the tire.
3 weeks later.
Oh, all right. So we are like right there. Yeah, right about 28 or 30 psi. So that's right where I like to be for the road. Maybe actually a little bit lower. So I'm going to shut it down now. Gosh, this, you know, it took about half an hour. Although it only took like 10 minutes to get up to 20 psi. And I'd say 20 is, you know, that's okay to nurse it, you know, somewhere where you can get better air pressure. You know, if you got to drive like 10, 15 miles or something, I'd go on 20 psi. I'd drive much further than that off-road. But yeah, about half an hour to get 30. Let's shut it down and Yeah, actually I'm gonna clip this before I shut it down, so we don't lose that pressure. All right, so some not so great news here. After I filled my tire up, now this compression tester doesn't want to come back out of the engine. So it's kind of hard to see here, but the hose is spinning, but the fitting that goes into the engine is very much not spinning. So I'm gonna wait for the engine to cool down a bit more. But yeah, let's see, we got some extra innings here to figure out how to get this compression tester out of the engine. I think it probably got warmer than it's supposed to, being in the engine running for like half an hour. So that may be a problem, but we'll let it cool down and figure it out one way or another. All right, so I'm taking a little screwdriver and kind of chiseling some notches in the top of that fitting there, and slowly I'm getting it to turn. I've got maybe not even quite a quarter turn yet, so it still doesn't want to turn on its own. I think it's getting close. I had to kind of wedge a Allen head in here because the whole thing just wants to like shove to the side. So I got an Allen head wedged in there. Then I'm taking a screwdriver and basically trying to go down in here, grab one of those notches, and then like spin the thing. So getting close. Only been at this like 45 minutes now. So, this filling up a tire with the engine compression is going pretty well so far. All right, I think I saw it moving down in there. Finally. Oh, I am so happy. Look at that. I think it's gonna come out. Ah, okay, well I got part of the adapter out. Oh, you know what though? That one has like a socket head basically on it. And is there something sitting in the middle of that? The Schrader valve? I think the Schrader valve fell out. Huh. All right, let's see if we can get that Schrader valve out and then get that adapter out. All right, I got this fitting out of here. This is what was left in the cylinder head after I pulled the compression. Let's see. This is the compression compression tester tube, I guess. So this threads into that, and then there's different adapters that fit different spark plug sockets. But this Schrader valve that's supposed to be in the end of this tube was sitting down in here like that, well, kind of like that. So fortunately, it looks like it actually can't fall through. So that came out with this tube. But since this is brass, magnetism doesn't work on it. So I took a socket and just put a little bit of tape around the edges. So I had to like really, actually I had to use a little hammer and like pound this up onto that. But then once I unthreaded it, this came out. So now everything is out of here. I just got to get that dust out of there. And then I can put the spark plug back in and put this thing back together. And I still got to disconnect the battery so it forgets what a bad person I am and what terrible things I've done to it, and the engine will run correctly again. All right, so we got that tight again, everything back together. So let's fire this up, make sure it runs good. Let's see, key under there, my special, whoa. When you disconnect the battery, the radio goes bonkers. So keys on, push my special start button. Yeah, it's running good. All right, well that actually went better than I expected. We were able to air up a tire that was flat using compression from the engine. And really, I mean, this worked out pretty well. So, if you've got a flat tire and you're somewhere without an air compressor, but you've got a compression test set, you've got an ace nearby so you can run and pick up the fittings that you need and an air hose and, the adapter to fill the tire. If you got about 30 minutes to, run the engine, maybe rev it up a little bit to fill the tire, it'll do that. And then probably about another hour to fish the broken pieces of the compression tester out of your engine. I mean, all in all, like, it's a pretty quick 3 hours and your tire's pumped up and you're ready to go. So thanks for watching. See you next time.